When it comes to making knives, Takamura-san is known as a real rock star. Turns out the guy sings like one of the greats as well. Today we're going to look at his knives, talk about why they're so cool. Hey, I'm Chris. I work here at Knifewear. I spent a long time as a cook. I'm one of the handful around Knifewear who's had the pleasure of traveling around Japan with Kevin. And one of the stops along the way was the Takamura workshop. I was really lucky. I got to kind of poke around a little bit. He's got pictures like in his office of all the different kind of celebrity chefs and people around the world who use his knives. You know, you got a picture of Snoop Dogg up there beside Martha Stewart and Renee Redzepi. And eventually his dad comes into the room, and Kevin and Shibata-san and Takamura-san all wander off and they go have a chat somewhere about big businessy stuff. And I'm sitting across the table from this older Japanese gentleman who hands me a carrot and a 4-foot-long Maguro bocho. I was prepped for this. Kevin told me it was coming, and the advice I was given was do as close as you can to a perfect brunoise. He kept talking to me, so I must have done a good enough job. So Takamura-san had actually inherited the business from his father. That's where he learned his trade, and he's really well known for using incredibly hard steels, super thin blades. Everything he makes cuts like a laser beam. It doesn't matter if it's VG10 or R2, everything is going to work perfectly. He really does specialize in stainless steels. He can take materials that tons of blacksmiths use and make things that are way out of that league. But did you know that he didn't even start his career as a blacksmith? He started off as the front man for a heavy metal band in Japan. He doesn't do that quite so much anymore. He's still a very, very talented singer and is known to haunt all the karaoke bars around town. I've heard some stories about hitting up the karaoke bars with him. They bring up the special little microphone, and I guess he belts it right out. Well, let's get a look at some of the knives, right? So first up, we've got the VG10 with a really tight circular tsuchime pattern. VG10 makes an awesome first knife. Like, this would be at the top of my list to give someone for a gift. It looks awesome, super easy to take care of, doesn't break the bank. It's one of the sharpest things you'll ever hold on to. This particular knife would be perfect for any newer cooks, culinary students who want something a little bit nicer to look at, but still really easy to take care of. You know what, I'd buy one for my parents too, knowing that they may or may not try too hard to take care of it. You'll notice when you use a knife with a tsuchime finish like this, where it's nice and textured, food doesn't stick to the blade quite so much. When you're cutting something like a potato, it kind of falls off the side of the knife on its own. This guy here is the Akagouhan, that means red handle. It's probably what Takamura is best known for. We sell a ton of them in my store. A lot of cooks, chefs. Someone who wants something that's just like straight to business. As sharp as can be, easy to take care of. Again, doesn't break the bank. You'd see these knives in the kitchens at Noma. I talked before, I've heard stories that, Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart have them, use them on their cooking show. So if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. So Takamura and his father, they're kind of at the very forefront of using this particular steel, SG2. It's what's called a powdered stainless steel. What that means to you is that it's really easy to take care of, but it's going to get a lot sharper. That sharpness usually comes with a little bit of care. This one might be a little more susceptible to chipping than, say, the VG10, but in the grand scheme of things, not too hard to deal with. So he uses another type of steel too, which is kind of new to everybody. It's called Chromax. Chromax is a semi-stainless steel. So it kind of acts a little bit more like a carbon steel, a little easier to sharpen, going to stay sharper a little bit longer than stainless, but it's not quite as reactive. So even when you're doing everything the way you're supposed to, you're doing a good job washing, drying your knife, you hone it regularly, you are going to notice that the core steel changes color, it darkens up a little bit, and don't let that shock you. You can get those knives, normally they've got the Western handle, the very classic Takamura Western handle, but this is the first time I've got eyes on this guy. This is a Nikiri, which is the first time I've seen a Takamura Nikiri. I'm pretty stoked on it, but it's got a really cool oak wa handle as well, wa meaning the Japanese style. So you're probably wondering where, like, if you know something about Takamura, you probably realize that something is missing. The Uchigumo and the Hana series of knives are, they're damn near impossible to get these days, but I can tell you about them. The Uchigumo's got that black Western style paca handle with a gorgeous Damascus made out of that same powdered steel that the Akagouhan is. And then the Hana is more or less the same thing, except it's got a very beautiful Japanese style handle on there. So before you start typing away asking where you can get one, it's probably safe to tell you that they're really, really difficult to get, and they don't get made very, very often anymore. The best place to look, to be perfectly honest with you, is the Knifewear garage sale in the spring or fall. They're definitely one of the ones where we only get one or two, so you don't want to wait when you do see them show up. I think if I was going to pick one of these out for myself, I'm going to go for this Nikiri. I haven't seen one before. You could always use another Nikiri. I personally prefer Japanese handle, but that's the one for me. Maybe you've already got a bunch of Nikiris. I don't know. What knife from Takamura-san would you get? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see what we can do about finding it for you. Thanks for hanging out with me and watching. If you want to learn more about Takamura-san and the other blacksmiths we deal with, you should check out Springhammer. It's a documentary that we made a couple years ago. Lots of interviews, lots of action shots. It's a lot of fun.